Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Past episodes, of course, can be found on the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Kademan, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and helpful coach to small business owners across the country. And today we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Talmar Anderson, the founder and CEO of Boss Actions. Talmar, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. I have a little voice thing. I apologize. We were at a conference for 4 days, but I'm excited to be. I sound way sexier and deeper than I normally do. So it's really not a bad thing.
No, you got the Stevie Nicks thing going on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I was interested when I think Susie Moon introduced me to you.
Yes. Oh, she is the bee's knees. I love her.
Yeah. And I checked out your website. I saw what you have going on. I'm like, oh my goodness, there is not an entrepreneur out there that does not have employee issues.
Yep.
If they don't have employee issues, that just tells me they don't have employees.
Probably.
They'll get there.
That's a statement I probably should make, but you were correct.
So fair enough. So how about we start off with what is Boss Actions and what do you do?
I love that. First of all, James, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Literally, I'm just trying to let people know that they don't have to figure this stuff out by themselves. So it's always, anytime I can get people answers faster, then I'm in my lane, and I appreciate that.
Fair.
So Boss Actions, hiring strategy and boss best practices for business owners and entrepreneurs, because it's a process. It's a system. It's not magic to find good people. You don't have to be lucky to be a great boss. And so I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for people to quickly find the answers they need and start building their kick-ass team, right? It's got to be specific to you, your industry, and what your business needs.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how long has Boss Actions been going on?
So in 2018, Boss Actions was the big shift, if you will. I'd had a operational consulting company since 2011 that was called Talmar Up, because I'm all about actions, verbs. So then we shifted to Boss Actions when we identified that literally no one is out there helping people learn how to hire the right people and help them be successful in the company.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had Calls on Call. My main business has grown quite a bit in the past few months.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting, but that just means you're hiring more.
Yes.
And in hiring more, sometimes you drop the ball on the people that you hire. You don't know how good they are until after you hire them.
Okay. Well, those are two different things. The boss dropping the ball and not knowing if they're the right person before you hire.
Well, I guess in the end, I, as the boss, take responsibility for an employee that I hired messing up.
I get it.
So I don't, you'll have to tell me if that's correct or not, but I believe that it's at the top. You gotta look at the top.
Well, okay, James. So I have like 100 questions I want to ask you about that particular hire, but let's go high level first.
Sure.
So yes, I fundamentally believe that it is up to the boss to learn how to identify what the business needs. So yeah, it's on the boss, but don't take it so hard on yourself, because there, I'm not exaggerating when I say, as far as I know, I'm the only business with a process that is really given people the ideas of how to step through it. So you just didn't know that there was somebody or a way, whether it's my way and you magically find it somewhere else, but
sure,
that there's a way to learn how to do this. You can develop your own skills. You can understand there's a process to it. So I would tell you to give yourself a break. However, now that you know the answer, shame on you if you do this for the next 3 years and you end up in what we call a hiring loop. You're slowing your growth and you're not going to serve as many clients as you want to impact. Guaranteed, if you can't get this piece into your tool belt.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about the opportunity cost of a bad hire.
Well, and honestly, the stress and the energy, right? So what happens to a lot of small business is they try to hire, right? They do the best they can for what they know to do, what they think they're supposed to do. And they just keep getting these people that take advantage of them or literally steal from them or don't show up and can't deliver. And they're like, is this as good? I literally had somebody hire me at our highest level package. First question he asked me was, Talmar, you just have to tell me, are my standards too high? am I expecting too much from these people? And that's what I'm doing wrong. And my heart totally broke again. And I was like, no, man, it's not, it doesn't have to be this. It's just that you want to learn how to set the expectation so that you can make sure you're getting what you need and matching it to what the business needs for success. And then we have to learn how to attract and how to make people prove to us that we have a reasonable expectation they will be able to bring those success markers. Mm-hmm. And we do that with a lot of different steps.
All right.
Does that help?
So tell me how, when you first started Boss Actions, did you have a system in place with clients before?
No,
okay, clean slate. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. I, before I was on my own business owner, entrepreneur, I make the joke, but I used to boss around attorneys. I ran law firms. And so I was always the operational COO type person. They call it a firm administrator in law firms. And so I would run these $1 million companies and I handled the business side of business, right? Accounting, marketing, IT, and of course, HR, right? And then the deliverables, the process, and all that stuff. So I had the process. I had internalized the process, but I had never thought about it. So then when I went on to be an operational consultant, I was like, answering whatever they needed, meeting the business owner where they were to give them answers. Consultants tell you what to do. Coaches help you figure it out. Way too impatient to be a coach. I could never do it. I want to tell you the answer. You can act on it or not, but let's just get to the heart of it. This is how we can do it successfully. All right. So after several years, there was a dearth of business coaches, which I was often compared to. And I was like, I feel like there's something speaking to me. So I went back over all of my cases for 7 years. And I found out very interesting thing. Every single client, whether I worked with them for 1 hour or 1 year, had the same 2 questions. How do I find good people? And what do I do if I have to fire them? And so I was consulting on that, like consistently with everything else. So I thought, I can't be inventing the wheel here, right? That imposter syndrome thing hanging over my head, telling me there's got to be a thing out there, but I couldn't find it. What I found was that business owners only got information on organizational structuring and really internalizing these processes from the kind of people, like when they could join $100,000 a year masterminds, they would fly in an organizational structure person who would just do it for you. Because, you're paying $100,000, you got to do that. So I was like, I want to get to this growing entrepreneur market, the business owners that are like, I want to deliver this beautiful idea, concept, service to people, but I can't do it myself. How do I get the people? And it's kept businesses small for so long that I was just like, I had to figure it out. So the first year, once we identified it was a need and it was something people were going to pay for, the first year we delivered it and developed it in person. We only had one-on-one clients. And then the second year in 2019, we created the digital version. And then 2020 was going to be the year of the conference. Wah, wah. But I'm happy to say it's 2021 and we just had our first conference and it was a huge success. So I'm really excited to get the mission out there.
No, so you had a conference.
Oh, no, I did say the wrong word. I attended. I am not interested in hosting a conference. Okay. I'm not that. I'm just not. I would go insane. That would not be good for me.
Totally understand.
But I love to go to the conferences. I speak all the time. And it's just the energy of being around the people that are like so excited about their businesses, hearing all their ideas. I know you get it, right? Because what you do, man, you get to talk business with business about business. Yeah. It's so energizing. I love it.
Yeah, I totally love it as well. It's very true.
I know that.
So when you came up with your system, was it you learned from, I guess, dealing with the attorneys and all that kind of stuff, which had to be challenging?
Yeah, I like working with egos, right? That's why I went to business owners and entrepreneurs, right? All right. I can't tell you what your business needs. I can tell you how to build it for your business. I can tell you what kind of people are going to be successful in that business, but I want you to know what's driving your business, right?
Interesting. And so how have things been going so far with your business?
Holy Batman. Really, really, really well. So I would tell you the first 2 years were hard, right? When you're developing something new, because it wasn't like I could go out there and take 8 different hiring process programs and bring it in and try to create my own twist on it, right? There literally, it wasn't out there. The SBA tells you to start with this template of an employment ad. And I would tell that, I'm sorry, SBA, Small Business Association administration, my brain, I did mention 4 days talking, right? Small Business Administration. So they tell you to start at the employment ad, and here's a template. But Boss Actions, we believe that it starts so many more steps before that, because otherwise you're just attracting somebody else's people. And the employment ad is an attraction tool, by the way. It is not a management tool. And so you have to learn how to write one that will get you the person for what you need right now in your business that will serve your clients. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. So I imagine this is a process that has been refined and probably continues to be refined. Refined.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, this last year, the beginning of the year, 2020, we went deep on messaging. Since we couldn't be out there, we started doing more and more and more market research just in the community of entrepreneurs and business owners. And then 2021, we started by going into our client base and the people that were really working the program and buying the program. And we wanted to get a better, bigger version of what we were delivering. And so our program is called Bossification. And so we just were like, tell us your pain. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you need. Tell us what you don't like, what you do like. Tell us the pain. Bring on the pain. And it was easily my favorite project that I've worked on in years. It was so fun to we talked to 50 different people very specifically about their pain and their hopes and dreams. And that was just fun to get to spend the time doing that, learning all about what they really wanted from a team. Interesting. Yeah.
I want to ask you about something that's been bugging me, and it's probably been bugging me at least to a point.
Okay, tell me.
I get a lot of resumes when I throw an ad out there, and I would say at least 50% of them, the people in that 50% pocket have held any job that they have had for less than 6 months. And there have been many jobs that they have had, and they feel like they have to list every one, even the ones that they spent 2 days at.
Yep.
Put them on their resume. I'm thinking, I see a common denominator here. I wouldn't, like, when I was off working for other people, if I were to put a resume out there, if I was ever at a job for 2 days, I don't believe I was, I would never put it on my resume.
They're trying to just look good, right? They want to show experience. What the reason most people put a lot is so that they're hoping you're going to go, oh, I used to run a deli shop, and they worked at a deli shop. At least they're going to know my vernacular, my vocabulary, the way, like if I say ham on Swiss, they're going to know what that means.
All right.
So I think that that's what they're looking for. But if the question is longevity, really, you worked at 3 jobs for 6 months. There's a couple of things to be thinking about there. The first one's going to hurt a little bit, everybody. So hang on. The truth of the matter is, in our current climate at 2021, we're talking in the fall. And I would tell you that small business can expect a good tenure from a really good employee, because they're all out there. There are great people that want to work for all of you, for you, James, for me, for everybody. A good tenure is 18 to 36 months.
Wow, that is hurtful.
Let that sink in for a second. Yeah.
I'm going to do everything I can to make that longer on my end. I'll be the exception to the rule.
Okay, well, that's okay. There's totally ways you can affect that, right? Create tenure and loyalty. Absolutely. Showing up as the best possible boss. It's who we hire and how we hire 100%, but it is equal parts to affect that tenure and loyalty. That comes from the way we show up as a boss, right? The way we manage them. And so now that can be longer, right? You can get like 3, because 36 months is 3 years, right? 3 to 5 years you can expect from a manager type or a supervisor type, or somebody that's kind of like got that layer and they really are helping you with all the machinations, right? The movements in your business.
Right.
Now, yes, someone that had someone that worked for them for 15 years, but I will tell you this, that's the rarity. And while we will look for that, we can't hire for that. What we need to do is we need to look at our business, identify what we need right now, learn how to attract that to us, and then put them through a vetting process that makes them prove they can do the job we need right now. Not hiring for potential. So hear me clearly. Stop hiring for potential. Small business owners do not have the time or the resources or the energy to grow a business with people that are learning to do their jobs.
Yeah, I had one of the businesses I sold. I remember selling to this guy, and one of the best pieces of advice that he gave me is that when it comes to employees, no projects. Never hire a project.
I know, but and good or bad, business owners and entrepreneurs are just so darn hopeful. Like my clients all have the biggest hearts. They just want a team that gets along and loves what they do as much as they do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And that's great. But if we're taking the time to hire people we like, to teach them how to do a job that your business needs, so already your business is not being served by this time. And then by the time we could possibly train them up, let's magically say 6 months was the time. By the time then, if we've got them trained, your business doesn't need it yet, or because you hired somebody else to do that. Or it's the other way. They're trained and ready. And that would work out. Yeah. So they're either our business doesn't need them on at the same time as they're ready to take on the full responsibility. And so now we have a disconnect, right? So we're still underserved because we don't have the right person, or they're ready for the job and they're going to go to the place that's going to give them the bigger bang now that you train them. Right. And that just creates this horrible, horrible cycle in your business. So that was great advice is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like it. That was very true. It's interesting. I read another article. Oh my gosh, I can't remember where or who it was written by, but essentially the gist was speaking on businesses in general, small, big, whatever, but essentially said that the goal of business is not to create jobs. Even though we as a society want to feel that it is, the goal of a business is to be profitable.
I agree with that. I'm a capitalist. I believe that a business has a responsibility to create profit, even not for profits, create profit.
Totally.
They use it differently. And if your business isn't creating the kind of capital that lets you get the resources inside your business to begin to start to create a profit, it's not going to grow.
Yeah. Interesting. I want to ask you if you have ever run into a manager or pain in the butt boss of some kind that you just are like, oh, you're the problem.
Oh yeah, a lot. Honestly, a lot of my clients will say that they think they're the problem. Okay. Usually it's just it's just something that they don't know, right? So they might be, I'm too friendly. I let them go. I let them decide their own schedule. I let them, whatever the thing is. That's oftentimes we worry we're being too friendly, and that is a big deal. It's trying to create this culture of being liked, right? And we think we're being empathetic. So, right, there's a book called Radical Candor by Kim Scott. And so she has a great difference of explaining compassion and empathy. And that's a really big thing for business owners. We think empathy is the thing that will get us a great culture. Oh, I know. I'm so sorry. In that moment and feeling that pain with them, instead of saying, I can understand your pain, but compassionately, I'm sorry you're in that pain. However, my business, how we would say it at Boss Actions, my business has needs. And so those have to do with fulfilling the expectations you and I laid out. Now we teach you to say it in a more conversational way if you need to. We teach you to say it in a very stark way. Every boss has to learn that. There are a lot of people that are trying to be a great boss, but are not stepping into that boss role of being the business champion. And a business owner, entrepreneur must protect that business. You're in charge. You're the champion. No one's going to fight for that company like you. And that means you have to take responsibility for the people and the actions that you let influence.
Yeah. I love you saying that. I am a person that does not have a whole lot of empathy. So when I have an employee that's like, hey, my cat is sick, I'm like, I don't care.
Well, and that's okay. It's also okay to not care. However,
I don't say that I don't care. I'm just like, great.
That's hilarious. I don't know. I love cats. I totally give a cat story too. When I'm talking with my clients, I'll say things like, I'll be like, look, yes, you don't care that they had to make Miffy the cat cook their dinner for them and shred it. And if you hardly ate anything, but we do need to create the space to allow them to share that moment with us, because it's creating trust and it's creating an opportunity for us to continue as a team. Right. So compassion comes from understanding the person that is doing the job. So we do need to offset that, but the job needs this, with an understanding for the humanity side of it. And there is a way to be that boss. And I think it's in the fun of small business and creating your own team that you get to decide how much of that compassion you let to. Like my people, if somebody comes in today, like even at the conference, let's imagine we were at the conference with my team and somebody that day woke up like, just throwing up and sick and horrible. I needed people working, but I also want them to feel, I'm like, I want you to just go, right? It's not, and I guess that was a little harsh, but I was trying to think of something else where they just, maybe they had lost a family member a month ago, and it was just a day they woke up and they literally couldn't stop crying. And if you've ever lost somebody, that hits you out of nowhere.
Sure.
As a small business owner, I get to do my team the way I want to. And what I know is I wouldn't care if I got 5 more sales because that person was on the floor that day. I get to, as the boss, go, I really want you to go to your room and just relax. It's okay. Everybody has that human moment, and small business, you can build that in. If that's a company thing, you can build that kind of compassion into your team, but it has to start from defining what success is and consistently holding people accountable for that success. When you have a successful employee and they have a compassionate need, you get to take advantage and be that awesome boss that you dreamed about. And that's where, it's a sticky wicket. So you do have to learn the steps in the dance a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, maybe I'm an anomaly or something like that, but I have a very hard time. I think one of the worst things that I have to suffer through is listening to somebody else tell me about their problems when it comes to something that I don't find relevant to the relationship that we have. So
James, let me ask you this. How are you going to get them to give a crud about your business if you can't give a crud about them?
Oh,
I told you it was going to hurt, man.
Dagger to the heart here. Right?
I know. So the issue is we don't want them to just show up and do the job, because they're not going to do a good enough job. We need them to like the job and want to serve the business or complete the project or build the widget. They have to be invested in the product and the people you're serving. And that implies compassion, caring, consideration for them. And if you can't give them the grace of that time, I'm sorry, I told you it's going to be, I'm like, this is the boss.
No, this is cool because this works out. This is all of my relationships, right?
Employee, so that's employer, funny. People have said that.
Friend, like I don't care about, like our relationship doesn't address or doesn't come near that.
Yeah.
I don't ask you about that. I don't want to know about that because
you just want them to care about your stuff, but you don't want to care about theirs.
No, because if I don't have a cat, I'm not a cat person. But if I did, my cat puked this morning, I wouldn't be like, "Hey, Talmar, my cat puked this morning."
I know, but you do care about your business and you care about your client, right? So you want to get on in that conversation where they're talking about the cat, the thing they care about. You want to get, yeah. Can we get to the point where we talk about the thing I care about, right? This is give and take.
The thing we pay them for.
Yes, it is what we pay them for. But again, you can have a team that just does it, and you can be that guy or that girl, whoever it is, where you're just like, look, just get the dang work done. Why are we having this talk in circles? I don't know why I have to spend the time and energy. Right. You will still be able to build a team, and they will still do an okay job.
Okay.
But if you can find a way to understand that when you have the right person who cares about, also this helps too, but when you have a person that cares about what you're doing and why you're doing it and how the people on the other end are receiving it, you actually do start to care. So one, I would challenge, do you have a team that you trust and like to do the job? Because
very much so.
Oh, do you? That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, we have a fantastic team.
I love that.
We fought hard to get there. Like it's been over 10 years. We fought hard, but the culture has been something that I have worked extremely hard on. And I feel like the crew has worked extremely hard on as well.
So you're probably then not as harsh on the employees as you're making it sound in this example.
No. I wouldn't say harsh. I feel like
in your head,
when, how do I want to say this? When somebody mentions that they're having a problem.
Yeah. A cat. I like the cat
or otherwise.
Yeah. It's a great example.
The crew as a whole is able to address that, and they do it very well.
Fantastic.
And I have to just ignore that communication channel because I'm like, why aren't you working?
Yeah.
And
But
as long as I ignore that
Yep.
communication channel, I essentially consider it outsourced empathy.
It kind of is. First of all, outsourced empathy is totally going into my program. But it is exactly that, right? I remind people you can hire the human resource part, the hiring part,
Mhm.
you can bring in people to handle this, but it's going to take the boss first learning what is success in the business, right?
Mhm.
What does a successful customer service representative need to bring with them, do for, because your customer service representative and my customer service representative surely would never be the same person. And that's okay. But
Mhm.
we have to learn how to write the employment ad and do the interviewing and the reference checks and all the things and how to manage those people so that they can be successful. But we have to attract the people that will care about the job and can work with us, right? So
Mhm.
my big thing is I talk too fast. I don't know if you've noticed that yet.
Oh, you and me both. We're covering 3 hours worth of stuff here in less than an hour.
Love it. I
Boom.
love it, right? And so so when I interview, I have to look for team members that can hear quickly. Now, they don't all have to be able to speak as quickly as I do. And some of them even need to take the information and go away and come back later. They'll be like, okay, I got it. I'll let you know what my thoughts are later. But I found I can't, when I hire somebody that needs me to slow down, it's not successful because I want to, heck with me. I want to keep moving. I want to talk quickly, get you my information, and I want to go to the next thing. I like operating at that high frequency. So
Yeah.
like you, if I have a need for somebody to take over that outsourced piece, whatever it is, for me, a big part of it's marketing because I market like I talk too many words. So then I bring in my marketing person and they coordinate all this stuff. So yes, you can outsource the HR, but the person you have in charge of that, you trust, you like, you vetted, and they're great with the team that you want. They're building a team that you like. They're conversing. They're doing that time and energy that you don't want to do. And that's exactly what building a team is about. But you had to take the time to define what that culture was going to be like, what you cared about and what you didn't, whether you worked with experts and coaches and, peer groups and masterminds to define that culture before you built it, or you brought in an employee that was the person that was the expert and then you internally created it. You, the boss, took the time to understand what was needed. And that's the only way a business can grow a successful team, because it's always going to come back to you and how you operate and how you communicate and what your clients were attracted to you about. Your team has to be able to deliver on in a lot of ways. So if we're not hiring people that can work the way you work, at least in some way, it's going to be a disconnect.
Fair. Totally fair. Yeah. In regards to the whole culture thing, I would love to say that I had the forethought, I guess, to bring on somebody that knew what was going on. But what happened was we ended up with a less than great employee that was just a dark cloud. Smart girl, but just she was the dark cloud everywhere she went.
I understand exactly what you're talking about.
And that brought the whole culture of the business down to a point that I noticed and was like, wait a second, this isn't good.
Yeah.
To figure out, like, okay, well, as soon as we hired her, it was essentially like a light switch where all of a sudden it's dark gray, thunderous
100%.
clouds around.
One person can do it. Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
one person in a small office like that caused that much damage. We got rid of her, and it still took us 6 months to recover from that.
It's a hard shift, right?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
Well, so there's a couple of things that sometimes the dark cloud part, it's funny that you say that I make a joke. I'm militantly positive that. So when I hire, I like you only want to be surrounded by people that are positive and hopeful. And like, that's a big part of what we give our clients is that you can build this team and you will find people that are awesome because they're out there. So, the big thing with that is that person was likely misaligned with either the industry, the way you serve, the people you serve, or misaligned with what they were doing. So somebody can be an expert in something and hate their own job. Somebody can be an expert at something and hate the kind of people you work with. But if somebody, and it's going to absolutely affect everybody else who loves the people you work with. It's going to affect everybody else who loves what they do. And that is where that kind of, some people are unhappy because they don't like this kind of job, right? If I'm stuck being, if I was in marketing and I had to format things and make it perfectly centered, I would lose my mind and I would not be a happy person.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that about myself, and I would not go for that job. So most bosses then say, so why are they trying for the job? Because they don't know that they could take control of the situation. They've never known anything outside of being an employee. And somebody once told them that they were good at what they're doing, so they can pay the bills. So they just keep trudging along.
Right.
And we can't fix everybody. And that's okay. It's not our job. But you can start to bring that alignment into your hiring process. And we can create ways to vet out the way they're going to connect with the team on a whole. So we want to connect them with the team, with the industry, or your audience, or who you serve, right? And then also with the position itself. These are really critical.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. I like to think that we're following those steps, but
it sounds good. Yeah. So far, it sounds great, man.
well, we
I was just
didn't
giving you a hard
at
time
first.
Yeah,
No, at first it was like, hey, do you sound good answering the phone? And are you smart enough to figure out where to go, A to B? Yeah, you're hired. It's all good.
And they probably did go to A to B really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people's idea of being able to work independently and our idea of being able to work independently are two very different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and we didn't find those out with a lot of people until after we hired them.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
And life goes on.
Yeah. But that's the big key, right? That's the big thing we built, when we, the reason we had to do so much time on messaging is, we built this hiring process and we thought it was the sexiest beast in the universe. And we're like, everybody's going to want this. And they did, but it wasn't the thing that was the buy now situation, right? They're like, I do, but I'm not really hiring yet. Well, let me tell you, people, you hired a vendor bookkeeper. You hired an independent contractor through your attorney that did your contracts. You have a social media person that's either through independent contractor or vendor. You have a team. As soon as you are letting people influence your business and that success and the way you show up or deliver, you are now a manager. You are now a boss. And so it's about learning the steps of only letting the right people into any of those roles. So we created that step-by-step process so that we have more control of the kind of successful person we're letting in. Before we don't want to say you're hired, now prove it to me. Now we say, prove it to me before I hire you.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the challenges that you run into with this whole boss business?
Oh, so that's one of the big things, right? So we thought everybody was going to want a hiring process. Like originally we did not do the management piece of it. In 2018, we were just all about the hiring. But as we were working with one-on-one, we found that we were consulting on managing with them because we were still developing. But we kept leading sales with hiring, right? You can learn to hire right. You can learn to hire right. And it was okay. But when we really went to adding the management piece into the whole program, right? Because there's a process to that. And we used to sell it separately. Do you want the managing or do you want the hiring?
All right.
And so it was separate. We put it all together and we really lead from, look, if you've got an underperformer and you have to have that really difficult discussion, look, it's time to step up or step out. That's what we call it. You still, as a boss, still have to step back and identify things again. We have to decide, are they going to stay or are they going to go? Right. And it's about what I want. Do I, the boss, want them to stay or do I, the boss, want them to go? And really, truthfully, 90% of the time, I ask you to tell you this, ask yourself, do you trust that they could do the job again? Right? Maybe they made one little mistake many times and you're frustrated by that. Like they just can't show up on time. Maybe they'll never care. Maybe they will. But is it enough to say, I don't trust that they'll ever be on time? And if you don't, then that means it's time to terminate and let them go.
All right.
There's more to it and conversation and stuff, but that's my little tip for everybody writing down actionable steps today. If you've lost that trust, if you don't believe they can do it, they have to go now. It's not, if you know in your heart of hearts, it's not going to come back. You don't believe they'll ever do it right. Get them out.
It's interesting. I can totally see that. When I find myself pausing before I have to have a difficult conversation with an employee like that, I do the math to figure out how much is that employee costing me. If I keep them, how much more will it cost me?
And then add in stress and energy. Yeah, it's not just money. I mean, it really is the chaos that comes from waiting.
Oh, totally. Yeah. There's we'll call it goodwill, right?
Yeah. Goodwill. Doesn't
Bad
feel
will,
very good.
whatever. There's the stuff on top of the cash. And you're just like, okay, we're having this conversation right now. Let's axe this thing before it spreads.
Well, and so let's go back to the very nice boss, right? Which we agree both of us are more of a get it done kind of people. We get it.
Yeah.
But the majority of bosses are out there want to be nice. And that's why they don't want to have the conversation. And they think to themselves, I'm going to give James one more chance. I'm going to let him go. I'm going to give him one more chance. I'm sure he's going to figure it out on his own. And then here's a couple of things in that whole thought process. If you really want to give your employees a chance, if you really want to help your team be successful, you need to let them know immediately when they make a mistake, because they cannot read your mind. They don't know that they weren't successful. So if you really want to give your people a chance, you have the conversation immediately, because once we tell them what success looks like, hey, James, I meant to talk to you about it. You know, you wore your blue shirt on Wednesday and we wear white shirts on Wednesday. So next Wednesday, what color are you going to wear? Blue, right? Tell him immediately. Now he has a chance at being successful in the future. Waiting for him to figure it out because it's obvious to you, or you feel like you've said it before. Whatever happened in that communication, they didn't get the message. But if we walk in Wednesday morning and you're wearing the white shirt and I'm like, James, hey, let's come have a conversation with me. And I just say, you know, I think you know that we have the different kinds of shirts. And I noticed that you're wearing the wrong shirt today. This is a shirt I need you to wear on Wednesdays. Do you have any questions? All right. Do you feel like you're going to be able to do this next Wednesday? Excellent. All right. I'm giving you the chance to be successful. That's how it works.
I like it. Would have been, well, let me back up a step here. Have you ever given somebody, a boss, advice? They've taken it and the employees, for whatever reason, just didn't follow suit, or like they're still
Absolutely.
people.
Yeah. And, you know, and I've hired badly and my clients have hired badly. So here's the horribleness of my industry. People are human, and it's not that they're horrible humans. So hear me out for a little bit. So the main thing is, the day you hire somebody, all they want to do is be the world's best boss. They're like, I'm going to get in there. James is going to love me. He's going to be like, I never had anybody as good as me. He's so lucky. I'm going to rock his world. The priority is to make the boss happy. I swear, the first day, all they want is to be successful. However, we're people, so our priorities change. So right that day, make the boss happy is above pick up the kids from school. It's above go to the grocery store. It's above go to Vegas and gamble, whatever it is, right? And so as life goes on, their priorities shift, right? Maybe it's pick up kids from school one day, make the boss happy because it's just the kid was sick that day or whatever. So that their priorities shift, but major priorities can shift. And that's where we start to see a difference in how they show up, right? So we need to make sure that we are thinking about what could be changing for our team? What else is going on, right? You know, in 2019, I had to move my mom in and walk her through end of life. So you got to know I wasn't showing up as the best me every day. My priority was my mom. Second priority was my clients, but I took less clients. I delivered, of course, for my clients. I made myself available, and I was transparent at what was going on, right? Because I'm fortunate enough that I can do that, and that's my part of my business model. Not everybody gets to do that. I get it. But your employees are doing the same thing. So when their priority shifts and now they have a sick kid or a family member or whatever, if we're in communication, we can understand the likelihood that they'll be able to come back and re-engage with us. What kind of time period is that, right? My mom was passing and it took 6 months. I could, if I had an employer, I would not have been able to tell them how long this would drag out. And so if you've got the relationship and you can value your employees, you can understand whether your business can survive to have somebody in or out. We don't always get to be the empathetic boss. We have to protect our business. And so small business, if I didn't show up at all for 6 months, I would have lost a job. I would have lost my clients for sure.
Right.
So if somebody needs to prioritize their family, their health, or something, it's okay. It's a choice, but it's okay to ask them to make that choice because you need, as the boss, to protect your business.
Fair.
Is that helpful?
Fair. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have to protect the business, and in doing so, protect the other employees
and the other team, your clients, your opportunity for helping others. Yes, you'll make profit. That's not the only reason you're in business. You're in business to serve your clients and your customers and help them get what they need because they still need it, whether we deliver it or not.
Very true.
We need to be there for them so they can get what they want. Right. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And I know those big, heavy moments can scare bosses. And that's why, we're always around for our clients. So.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say scare bosses. Like the main concern that I have is that I'm not breaking some law.
Well, there are laws, so let's be clear, don't break them.
Yeah.
So the
like,
one
don't
thing,
ask about whatever health or whatever.
Yeah, please. Yeah, don't ask about don't ask about their health. But to my point, in my example, it was your employee is sharing with you that they have a life change. Right. And when they do that during that call, when you're doing your one-to-ones and they're talking about their cat is a family member, James. That one that they were upset about because they died, it's a family member. You don't have to agree with their priorities. You don't have to have the same values, but you do have to know that they have a painful thing they're going through. Fair. And you have to decide whether that's worth it to you to keep this valued employee, or if it's a kind of thing that's going to interrupt your business so much that you can't offer anything outside of compassion, understanding, and a choice for them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It takes me a lot of times. It's just a challenge, just like trying to slow yourself down in communication. You're trying to consciously like, ooh, what would a compassionate person with empathy say about this cat? Like, I have to think, like, oh, how would a slower person talk?
So here's something, and I'm going to be shocked if you don't actually have this same issue. All of my emails start with "do the thing." James, do the thing. Do it now. Do it yesterday, like we talked about. Do the thing, and then I stop and I go back and I go, James, how's your day going, man? Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I'm so sorry about your cat. I hope he feels better. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation. Then I go to the end and I throw in this and that. And then at the end, and I'm like, okay, man, boss on, let me know what you need. I'm here for you, right? Or whatever I need to say. But all of my, because I am that communicator. My brain is I've already quickly identified what we need to do. I've already identified that we haven't done what we need to do. I've already identified that I'm disappointed that it's not done, but I've got to just write out do the thing. And then every email I have to go, and then I go back and I put in, I guarantee you people that know me, that have worked with me are surprised that that's the way my emails go. Maybe not all the people, most of my clients for sure. They think of me as this, compassionate, understanding person, which I am. But in my business, my first thought is do the dang thing. Why are we talking about this? Right.
Yes.
So I write that out and then I go back and I zhuzh it. And so that's your moment where you're thinking about it. I totally understand that. And I think a lot of people we're like, my business has a need. It needs the thing to be done. Why isn't the thing done? Right. And so it's okay. Don't give yourself a break. It's not a big deal.
Adding that sugar coating. I hate that.
No, but why? What's so painful
that.
About it? What's so painful about it? And why is it sugarcoating to be nice and civil to the people that are serving you and your business and your clients? Why is that sugarcoating?
It's what I always think of the stand-up comic. I can't think who it was, but they're just like, you ever hate it when somebody answers honestly to the question, how's it going?
You're like, I didn't really want to know the answer. I think it was Brian Regan.
Right.
I think the guy's name was Brian Regan, but I could be wrong. But I know the bit you're talking about. I love comedians too.
Yeah. Like, how's it going? It's great.
I know. It's good. It's good. Yeah. It's not. And here's the thing, the more you put that stuff in there, the more you actually do put the niceties in there, the civility, let's dare to call it respect for the human people. Fair. I'm totally giving you a hard time, James, just because you bring it.
No, it's cool.
But if we put that in there, They hear what they want to hear in those emails. They hear the words that you say mean something different to them, right? That's communication. Your intent is let's get to do the thing. Their meaning that they put into it is he cares about my cat. He cares about me. He cares about my pain. And then you guys can get to an understanding that, yes, we're working about it. And I want us to work together and I want us to care about each other's things. Now let's talk about doing the thing.
Perfect. I like it. I don't like it. I'll tolerate it.
I know. You'll get, I'm telling you, man, I don't think first of all, I don't think you're as bad as you're saying. And second of all, I would tell you that it just makes such a shift if you can take the time and the meaning to really be there for them. And it doesn't.
Very true.
And you do. And I know, I'm sure I read it. You've been in business so long. You've got such a great team. You are there for them. If one of them came in because a devastating thing happened, I don't believe for a second you'd be like, but you're not doing the thing. So I get that.
No, I'm more just solve the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I've helped employees with busted radiators where I just replace stuff on their car. Solve the problem.
Cars.
Solve the problem. Just a lot of times I've had employees that's super cool, but they just get stuck in this trap of, oh my gosh, we got this problem. And I'm just like, problems are meant to be solved. Let's solve the problem, move on with their lives.
Sing it.
And they're just like, oh, but can we stare at the problem a little longer? And I'm like, no staring, we're fixing. You're
my man. That's totally how we roll here at Boss Action. So I get that 100%. Progression, moving forward. We can learn from our mistake, but that should be a finite amount of time. We can't live in that mistake, right?
No.
Learn from it, resolve, move forward. I agree.
Now I want to ask you about something as far as shifting gears in regards to entrepreneurship.
Bring it.
Typically, many entrepreneurs, the goal is you start your business, you build your business, and then you either sell your business or you build your business to the point that you're not needed anymore.
That is correct. All these things are possible.
Now let's just take that fork in the road where it's like, I'm not selling, but I don't want to necessarily be needed in my business anymore.
Oh yeah.
How do I you're like, yes, salivating at the mouth.
That's what we should all be doing. We should all be just like,
you'd be surprised how many entrepreneurs don't seem to be headed down that road. They're like,
I will tell you,
a wrench.
All you got to ask them is, do you have the people you trust around you? They're going to say, no, I don't. That's why I have to be there. And then you say, let me introduce you to Boss Actions.
So interesting story. Just a side tangent here. We've answered the phones for clients that believed that they were the only one that could do what they could do. The customers, I even talked to a garage door opener guy. We answered the phones for him, super cool guy, but he's moving. So I'm like, hey, why don't we just take calls for your garage? You still have clients.
Yeah.
You could send that over to one of your competitors. They give you a little nut. You make money in your sleep. And he's like, oh, when my callers call, they want me to go out there to fix their garage door. I'm like, the hell they do? They just want the garage door
fixed. Yeah.
I mean, if you got hit by a bus, it'd be like, no more fixed garage doors ever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, and I will tell you that was a big part of what we do, right? I think that's a sweet spot for us, is working with the person who thinks that I know there's more. I know I could do more clients if I could just get myself out of it, but I can't imagine how I could get myself out of it because I'm the only one that cares enough, can do it, is the whatever. And so that shift, we remind them that's the shift from moving from an overwhelmed business owner to a thriving boss. I really believe in my heart of hearts, every business can be scaled, and it is 190,000%. That's not math, but you get my point.
I do.
On the team that you develop, you can build a whole business, step back as the CEO, bring on a new CEO, and just be a chairman of the board or the owner. You don't actually have to be in there. But you would have to know how to identify, attract, and really get in there, the kind of CEO that will rock the business to give you the results you're looking for. So you have to learn how to do that. And that's about building a team you trust. I'm telling you, that's all that it is. If you were honest with yourself today, if there's somebody that you're having a problem with, it's because you've lost trust. So now we have to learn how to attract the kind of people that you can trust for whatever role we're trying. Now, there's more to it sometimes. Sometimes we're, if it's okay, I don't know where we're at with time, sorry, but we call it Frankensteining a role, right? So So let's imagine I'm building a new role. We're scaling. When you scale, you have to create new types of positions. And so I'm like, okay, I need somebody in my marketing company. And I start with my list of what I want, right? And so I want them to handle my editorial calendar for posting social media. And I want them to create beautiful Canva, which is a software, branding specific imagery. And I want them to write my content and post so that it looks amazing. And I'm going to ask them to do some receipts because I don't think that'll keep them busy enough. So I'm just going to Frankenstein this role. I'm going to put everything in the kitchen sink in there. Mm-hmm. And what that means is you are guaranteed to never have a fully successful person.
Right.
Because you will only ever see the thing they don't do. Mm-hmm. And the creative mind that is creating beautiful imagery and gets the branding, and the person who's going to be hugely successful at that has no chance at being successful at getting those receipts right. And the person who's great at content writing is highly unlikely to be able to be the person that is great at editorial calendars and deadlines and making that kind of stuff happen. Now, can you find somebody who's great at all those things? And every boss out there, I hear you. You're rolling your eyes and saying, I do it. No, you don't. First of all, you don't do it as well as you think, all four of those things. But the truth of the matter is you also don't want you. If you hire a bunch of mini me's, they're going to go and do their own thing, which means they're never invested in the role you've hired them for. It just isn't going to be true. Right. So don't Frankenstein. Learn to identify, learn how to structure positions that you can attract a type of person to be successful in. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Hiring's about planning for success. That's all that we teach business owners. How to imagine, what if everything goes right and everybody says yes? That means we need more people. If you're successful, you're going to always be hiring. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah. It's interesting. I didn't realize this until now that you and I are essentially after the same client.
Probably. Tell me about your clients.
We're essentially after business owners that are interested in growing their business.
100%.
And yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so, our business, we traditionally work with business owners from as far as revenues, 500,000 up to 50 million. But the real thing is the number of people on the team. Again, team, independent contractor, vendors and employees, right? So it can be any shape in there, but really they usually have less than 20 employees. All right. So, or 20 team members, right? You might have a marketing consultant that has 6 different independent contractors because they are a full service agency, but they never really sat down and got structured about how they're going to hire in the roles and stuff like that. So that's a client, but they know that their business could be so much more, so much bigger, so much more profitable if they just had the right team. And so that's the problem we solve, but very much about growth, just like you.
Name of the game. I love it. Talmar, where can people find you?
Thanks for asking. You can find us at bossactions.com, and we're on all the Insta, Twitter, LinkedIn's. You can also find us as the Boss Actions on those places because there was a squatter on Boss Action. So it's the website is bossactions.com. Everything else is the Boss Actions. And I would love to connect with anybody that has questions. Make sure you let us know. I know James can point you to me at any time, but I'm really grateful to be here with you, sir.
Yeah. So final thing. What is one step that you can think of a business owner what would be great for them to do to start going down the road of having a successful team?
Okay. So the first, we dropped like all my favorite rules, right? Stop hiring for potential. No more of that. That doesn't help you. Give people a chance by telling them immediately what's going on. The 2 big one's hiring, one's management. But the thing I would tell you is you need to be aware that you need to be ready. Do it sooner than you're ready. You're going to get more and more overwhelmed. And if you try to push it off and think, I'm going to hire it when I have so many clients that I can easily pay for it and I can do this, you're still going to have to take the time to hire, and you're not going to want to do it correctly. So here's my hint. I want you to identify what your next hire is. And if you need help with that, you can find me, but identify what your next hire is. And I want you to take their salary or monthly rate and break it down into, because you might be hiring an independent contractor vendor, break it down into a monthly amount that you would have to outlay, right? Again, if it's salaried, you're not paying the whole salary the first day, everybody. So just a monthly amount. And I want you to add that line into your budget wherever it goes. If you hit it for 3 months, you start hiring immediately because now you should be confident that you can cover it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other time is when you've got the big contract and you're trending your sales up. That's when you should be you should be hiring. Again, never let it 3 months in a row scaling business. You should be hiring. It's just, it's only going to get more overwhelming. At what point of overwhelm will you take action to start building a team that you can depend on and trust? It's got to start now.
That's a great question. I love that one.
Thank you. That's mine. At what point of overwhelm? Because that's what my clients feel usually. They wait till they're so stressed out and overwhelmed. The business is successful. The clients are coming in, but now they're having to start to turn things away because they don't have a team they fully trust or that can fully deliver or just the right people or enough people, right?
Yeah.
Overwhelm.
That's fair. Interesting. I think we were there the first 7 years of business.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, not that you were overwhelmed, but that you were able to scale and grow so fast.
Yeah, it was just one of those where we were just like, oh, I'm embarrassed to offer what we have for sale on any great scale because we're still working on our team kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're just spending so much time on the team instead of selling because you got to mop up after the team. So,
well, yeah. And ideally a business owner doesn't get fully out of the sales, whether it's the face or they're doing speaking or however the business model works until I don't think you can really step out of sales fully until you're at least at 5 million in revenue. That's my impression.
Fair.
It's what I've seen in small business. So, the more we can get space by turning you more into that CEO of I manage my team that manages the results and I'm out there in front of the people I need to be in front of to make sure we're still getting the leads and the business is doing. That's the ultimate CEO role that we want for everybody.
I like it. Awesome. Well, Talmar, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate being here with you and your audience. And man, I love that you're out there helping them because small business is just the best thing out there.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Can you tell us that website one more time?
Absolutely. Bossactions.com. That is not www.boss, just bossactions.com.
Bossactions.com. Easy.
You'll find it.
Super simple. You'll find Talmar. Awesome.
That's right.
This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumph and successes of business owners across the land. We're underwritten locally by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you're listening to this on the web, if you could do us a huge favor, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, share it with all your entrepreneurial friends, especially those that have employee problems, which, let's be honest, that's all of them. That's all of them. Employees are people. What are you going to do?
I know, but that's right. People want to work for you and they want to be successful. We just, as a boss, we need to give them the tools so they can do it.
There's steps we need to take. That's all there is to it. My name is James Kademan, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and receptionist services for service businesses across the country on the web at callsoncall.com, as well as Draw In Customers Business Coaching, offering business coaching services for entrepreneurs looking for growth on the web at drawincustomers.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur and all of us, available wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Talmar Anderson, the founder and CEO of Boss Actions, and that's found at bossactions.com. Talmar, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Boss on, everybody. You can do this. Absolutely.
Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night. Podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.